Hello. Hello, good afternoon. All acknowledge. If you can hear my voice, can you do a thumbs up?
Loud and clear.
All right.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you. All right. So before we start, please be informed that this session will be recorded. So, 请注意本次会议将进行全程录制。Okay. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anket Ko, and I will be your host for today's learning session, for today's webinar. 大家下午好，我是许根吉，是本次会议的主持人。As part of our full year round of series of webinars, I formally welcome everyone to our 6th webinar entitled Updates in Tax Law, or also known as CREATE Act. Okay. In the light of the recent struggle of businesses due to the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises, or also known as CREATE Act, was enacted into law to lighten some of the pressure businesses face in the form of reorganized tax laws. This discussion will cover the objectives, changes to the law, and the implications of CREATE Act on various taxpayers. This webinar aims to equip tax practitioners, general accountants, business owners, and accountancy students with a basic understanding of the new law and how these changes affect them. This will allow the participants to make more informed decisions moving forward regarding matters that deal with this change. 近来，鉴于 COVID-19 流行病的影响所引起的企业斗争、企业复苏和企业税收优惠法被正式颁布为法律，它以种族税法的形式减轻企业此时面临的一些压力。此次研讨会将涵盖此法的目标、法律的改变，以及创设法案对不同纳税人的影响。本次网络研讨会旨在使税务从业人员，从会计师、企业家和会计专业学生对新法律的变化以及对他们会造成什么影响有一个基本的了解，这能够使参加会者处理这一变化的事项做出更明智的决定。So to formally start our program, let us all welcome our Vice President for NARA Campus and the College Dean's Council Chair, Dr. Steve Wong, to introduce our guest speakers for today. 在此会议正式开始前，让我们欢迎大家我们大学部 NARA Campus 校区副校长黄石华博士为我们介绍今天的主讲人。
各位下午好，午安 ，Good afternoon. So, Saranket, you will be the one to share.
Yes.
Okay. OK， 那 Good afternoon， 下午好，午安。那今天我有这个荣幸，那向大家就是介绍我们今天下午的3位讲员。So, may I have this honor to introduce to you this afternoon's the 3 resource speaker。那第一位是 Attorney Fidela E.C. Reyes， 他的背景是在税务策略和实施、遗产规划、跨境交易、入境和出境投资及本地和外国投资结构化、设立分支机构并取得许可认证，处理税务评估和他的退税申请等方面拥有逾24年的经验。所以我们第一位讲师是那个 Reyes 的律师，他已经有24年的经验。他的专业资格呢，就是注册会计师、注册律师。OK， 以优异的成绩获得马尼拉圣贝大，应该是三贝大学院呢， 法律法学学士和 USD 的会计专业的商业学士学位，并完成了亚洲管理学院的管理发展计划课程。Okay, next slide. Can you zoom in a little bit? Okay. Pakai zoom, yeah. Okay. So the background of Attorney Fineda is a partner of the International Tax Transaction Service Practice. Okay, Fineda is a partner of the International Tax Transaction Service Practice, Global Immigration Practice of SGV and company Ernst & Young. She leads the China Overseas Investment Network of the firm. She has been with the firm for more than 24 years. Fineda earned her Bachelor of Laws from San Beda College, Manila. She also attended the University of Santo Tomas, where she obtained a bachelor degrees in commerce, major in accounting. She has also completed the Management Development Program of the Asian Institute of Management. Then, as a CPA lawyer, Fineda is knowledgeable on corporate organizations and reorganizations, corporate registrations, merger and spins-off, design and implementation of tax-effective alternatives in structuring local and foreign investment, investment incentive regimes in specific economic zones, international tax planning, VAT planning, custom and import tariff matter. She has a considerable experience in, paki-lower lang konti. In providing advice on estate planning, tax strategies implementation. She has assisted clients in obtaining tax rulings from local tax authorities and securing approvals on applications from different government agencies, including availment of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. She has also the broad knowledge in the tax world involving cross-border transactions, inbound and outbound investment, and structuring of local and foreign investments, with focus on Philippine tax implementations and maximizations of enjoyment of available incentive. She has assisted various foreign corporations in establishing branches and obtaining license to engage in trade and business in the Philippines. She has also assisted corporations undergoing closure in obtaining tax clearance from the government, and she has successfully structured transactions of companies in diverse industries for tax minimization purposes. She has also represented clients in tax assessment and claims for refund and has prepared position papers on tax-related issues. She has been engaged as a retainer tax advisor of various industries such as manufacturing, food and beverage, telecommunications, construction, infrastructures, and real estate purposes, in real estate companies. So she is Attorney Reyes. 那第二位讲师呢是 Marie-Chris C. 施美丽，她的背景有在税务和归语报告、税务尽职调查审查、税务会计和风险咨询、会计和归语报告、工资外包服务、诉讼支持、合同审查和特殊税务研究等方面拥有逾15年的经验。他面向业务流程外包、共享服务、电信、餐饮、制造、建筑、能源、房地产、咨询、信息技术、半导体、零售等客户拥有深厚的服务经验。他是一位注册的会计师，注册的内部审查师，以优异成绩获得就是 De La Salle University 的经济学专业文学学士学位和会计专业专业理学学士学位，完成了新加坡欧洲工商管理学院亚洲领先业务转型的课程。现在呢，菲律宾注册会计师协会马尼拉大都会南部分会主席，并担任了多个董事会和委员会的主席职位。Okay, so 施美丽呢，她是 Certified Public Accountant, CPA, and Certified Internal Auditor, Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Bachelor of Science in Accountancy degrees, cum laude from De La Salle University, Manila. And she also completed the Leading Business Transformation in Asian program of INSE AD in Singapore, current president of PICPA, Southern Metro Manila chapter, and handled various board of director or committee chair positions. Regular speakers in tax seminar conducted by PICPA and SGV Internal Tax Seminar. Okay, she's also a partner in the Global Compliance and Reporting practice with more than 15 years of experience in tax compliance and reporting, tax due diligence reviews, tax accounting and risk advisory, accounting compliance and reporting, payroll outsourcing services, among others. She was recognized as one of the Ernst & Young Chairman's Values Champion for the Asia Pacific region and was subsequently selected as the overall Chairman's Value Award representative for the region in 2012. She was a recipient of Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountant National Award as the Young Achiever in Public Practice in 2012. She was a regional winner of EY's Better Begins With You for building the highest performing teams category for 2018, which is awarded in Singapore. She has a various exposure in tax compliance engagement, input, VAT verifications, VAT refund, statutory reporting, bookkeeping and payroll services, tax advisory services, tax due diligence reviews, tax accountings and risk advisory services, tax planning, SOX for compliance, litigation support, contract reviews, and special tax studies, among others. She has significant experience in servicing clients engaged in business process outsourcing and shared services, telecommunications, food and beverage, manufacturing, construction, energy, real estate, consultancy, information technology, semiconductors, retails, among others. 她就是施美丽女士。And the next speaker is Jonathan T. Bino 林承德。OK， 林承德呢，他曾处理不同跨境交易。OK， 他也为港口运营、航运和物流。船员、人员配备、船舶管理、房地产、博彩制造、服务、餐饮、酒店和消费品等行业公司，根据国际审计准则以及国际和菲律宾财务报告准则进行财务审计，拥有丰富的相关经验。他的专业资格是注册会计师 ，HGB 审计部拥有逾12年的业务实践经验。Manila De La Salle 会计学专业理学学士学位，在2008年5月举办的注册会计师职业资格考试中取得了第6名的优异成绩。而且是菲律宾注册会计师协会的会员。OK， Mr. Bino 林先生啊，林承德会计师，他是个 CPA， has been with SGV Assurance Practice for more than 12 years, Bachelor of Science in Accountancy degrees from De La Salle University, Manila. May 2018, the Certified Public Accountant Licensure Exam 6th placer. He is a member of Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountant. So his professional experience are senior manager in assurance service line of EY Philippines, SGB and Company, member of EY China Overseas Investment Network and EY Growth Market Champion. Areas of experience include cross-border transaction, financial audits in accordance with international standards on auditing of companies in the port operations, shipping, logistics, crewing, manning, shipping management, real estate, gaming, manufacturing service, food and beverages, hotel and consumer product sectors using international Philippines financial report standards. And he says HSK is 汉语水平考试 or the Chinese proficiency level 6 certification, obtain level 6 certifications from Beijing Language and Culture University for Mandarin proficiency examination for non-native speaker. The HSK certification is only standardized test for of Standard Chinese Language Proficient for Non-Native Speakers by the People's Republic of China, and he is Mr. Bino. So 现在我们欢迎今天下午的3位讲师。Let us welcome our 3 resource speakers for today's webinar.
Hi, good afternoon, Ankyat. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir, Jonathan, loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you, Ankyat, and thank you, Mr. Wong, for having those introduction. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, Jonathan.
OK， 下午好，我叫林承德，我是菲律宾安永审计部门的高级经理，我也是安永中国海外投资业务部的成员，主要是协助中国公司在菲律宾投资。我也是我也是中正学院2004届校友。我很高兴能够应我母校中正学院的邀请，与在座的各位分享最近菲律宾政府新发布的企业复苏和企业税收优惠法。Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Bino. I'm a senior manager of the assurance practice of SGV and Company, or Ernst & Young Philippines. I'm also a member of China Overseas Investment Network, which assists Chinese companies to invest in the Philippines. I'm also an alumni of Chiang Kai-shek College, high school batch 2004. I'm glad and honored to be invited by my alma mater to be one of the speakers this afternoon. 企业复苏和企业税收优惠法是财政部提交的4项税收改革方案中的第2项，它于2021年4月1日生效。第1项是 Train 1， 它于2018年1月1日成为法律。第3个方案涉及不动资产的估价改革。第4个方案涉及到被动收入和金融中介税的，这2项仍在国会审议当中。CREATE, which became effective April 11, 2021, is the second of the 4 fiscal reform packages submitted by the Department of Finance. The first one is the Train 1, which became law effective January 1, 2018. The fourth packages, which deals with real property valuation and passive income and financial intermediary tax reform, are still in deliberation by the House of Representatives. 税收改革方案早在2018年3月就已经提交给众议院，被称为 Train 2。该法案于2018年9月有众议院3次议决，并命名为 Trabajo 法案。2019年9月 CITIRA 法案在众议院通过，这2个法案并合并为 CREATE 当中，被合并为CREATE 法案最终于2021年3月26日获得菲律宾总统批准，其中一些条款被否决，并在15天后成为法律。It was submitted to the House of Representatives as early as March of 2018. After deliberation, the House of Representatives passed the Trabajo Bill on 3rd and final reading on September 2018, and then CITIRA was also passed in Congress by September of 2019 on 3rd reading. The bills were consolidated and became CREATE. After deliberation and amendments, CREATE was approved by the President of the Philippines on March 26, 2021, and became a law effective April 11, 2021, after being published in 2 newspapers of general circulation.该新法的目标如下：第一，提高公司税制公平性和公正性；第二，制定更具响应性和全球竞争力的税收激励制度。该制度基于绩效、有针对性、有实现和透明度，为企业复苏提供支持。第四，创造一个更公平的税收奖励制度。Objective of CREATE is to improve the equity and efficiency of the corporate tax system. It is also to develop a responsive and globally competitive tax incentive regime that is performance-based, targeted, time-bound, and transparent. It is also to provide support to the businesses in the recovery and create a more equitable tax system, incentive system. 企业复苏和企业税收优惠法的显著特点包括调整企业税和其他税收以及财政激励措施的合理化。The salient feature of CREATE includes the following. First is to adjust the corporate and other taxes, and second is to rationalize the fiscal incentives. 现在让我们关注公司税和其他税收的变化。对于国内公司，新税法与旧税法的主要变化是将所得税税率从30%降至25%或20%。2020年7月1日开始，新税法下的常规所得税税率为25%。对于企业总资产1亿以下，应税净收入500万以下，适用20%的企业所得税税率。总资产不包括特定商业实体的办公室、厂房和设备所在。请注意，在年度财报当中，土地成本不得归入一个科目名称，而应在年报中单独列报。另一方面，如果公司需缴纳最低企业所得税，那是当 MCIT 大于 RCIT 时，而公司已经开始营业后进入第4个纳税年度，则在2020年7月1日至2023年6月30日期间，用1%的 MCIT 税率，2023年6月30日后将恢复2%。For domestic companies, one of the significant changes brought about by CREATE is to lower down the corporate income tax rate from 30% to 25% or 20%. Starting July 1, 2020, the regular income tax rate under the new tax law is 25 or 20%. For enterprise with total corporate assets of 100 million and below, and net taxable income of 5 million pesos and below, a corporate income tax rate of 20% is applicable. Total asset does not include the value of the land where the office, plant, and equipment of the business entity are located. Please note that in the annual financial statements, the cost of the land should be separately presented and cannot be consolidated with other property and equipment. On the other hand, if the company is required to pay the minimum corporate income tax or MCIT, that is when MCIT is greater than RCIT, and the company has entered the 4th taxable year of operations, the company should use the MCIT rate of 1% starting July 1, 2020 until June 30, 2023. After June 30, 2023, MCIT rate will return to 2%。请注意，以下确定土地价值的考虑因素：第一，收购成本或公平市价，以年报中反映的为准；第二，仅限于企业实体办公室、厂房和设备所在的特定土地；第三，主要为出售给客户而持有的土地或投资而持有的土地，不应该排除在总资产的价值之外。第四，单位办公的土地价值不计入总资产。第五，对于香蕉种植园，在确定总资产时，不应排除用作香蕉种植园或出租的土地。Please note that the following consideration for determining the value of the land or the total assets. Acquisition cost or fair market value, whichever is reflected in the annual audited financial report, limited only to specific land where the corporate office plants and equipments are located. The land held mainly for sale to customer or land held for investment should not be excluded from the value of the total assets. The value of the land used by the unit for office should be excluded in the total asset. And lastly, land used for banana plantation or being leased out for banana plantation should not be excluded. 现在让我们关注私立教育机构和医院。自2020年7月1日至2023年6月30日期间，非营利性的私立教育机构和医院应按应纳所得税的1%缴纳所得税。2023年6月30日后将恢复10%。根据 VIR 收入条例，无2021年私立教育机构、民营医院和非营利的定义如下。对于常驻境外企业，自2020年7月1日起，对来自菲律宾的应纳税所得额，外国居民公司的所得税税率从30%修改为25%。自2020年7月1日起至2023年6月30日止，MCIT 税率为总收入的1%，此后应恢复2%的 MCIT 税率。对于区域营运部或者是 ROHQ， 自2022年1月1日生效 ，ROHQ 应遵守正常的企业所得税，即 RCIT 25%、MCIT 1%或2%。对于常驻境外企业的最终预扣税，国税局在收入条例将扩大外币银行存款利息收入的税收，从7.5%提高到15%。此外，未在证券交易所出售的股票的资本利得税率已经从7.5%或者是15%加到15%。对于非常驻境外企业，自2021年1月1日起， 非居民外国公司的所得税税率从30%修改为25%。为与所得税税率的变化保持一致 ，BIR 收入条例将对非居民外国公司的预扣税也进行了调整。现在让我们讨论一下 CREATE 法的一些临时规定。国税局在税收条例5/2021中提供的说明中，对于2020纳税年度，无论会计期间如何，用于 RCIT 计算应纳税所得额时，该年度的收入和支出应视为该期间每个月的收入和支出都均等。公司应使用屏幕上显示的公式计算应付所得税。为了便于计算过渡期间应付的所得税，国税局在收入条例中还提供可以使用平均税率。平均税率表显示在您的屏幕上。对于 MCIT， 国税局在收入条例中提供的说明，对于2020纳税年度，无论会计期间如何，用 MCIT 计算应纳税所得额时，该年度的收入和支出应视为该期间每个月的收入和支出都均等。公司应使用屏幕上显示的公式计算应付所得税。为了便于计算过渡期间应付的所得税，国税局在条例5/2021中提供可以使用平均的税率。平均税率表显示在你的屏幕上。新法还引入了对外国股息征税的新规则。汇入菲律宾或国内公司实际收到的外国来源应在下条件下豁免。第一，境内公司直接持有境外公司至少20%的已发行股份，并在派息时至少有2年。第二，资金在投资与菲律宾国内公司的业务运营。第三，基金在收到股息后的下一个纳税年度内再投资。第四，再投资应限于为营运资金需求、资本支出、股息支付，对于国内子公司和基础设施项目的投资提供资金。以下是外国来源股息免征所得税的文件要求。从实际收到收入之日起30天后，公司应提交宣誓报告书。宣誓报告书应包括实际收到的事实、股息的金额和来源，包括持股和持有期和他们将遵守条件的声明。第二，提交 AITR 时，公司还应附上独立审计师的宣誓证明， 说明以下内容：第一，实际收到的事实；第二，股息的金额和来源，包括持股和持有期；第三，公司已拨款或计划再投资；第四，付款时的合规声明；和第五，使用或未使用的股息。对于总收入均与扣除额的若干规定 ，Under the old income tax law, the interest arbitrage is 33%, while under the new income tax law, the interest arbitrage is 20% for 25% income tax rate, and 20% for 20% income, and 0% for 20% income tax rate. 根据旧税法，有余所得税率为30%，利息套利为最终应纳税利息收入的33%。根据新税法，对于采用25%所得税税率的公司，利息套利应为最终纳税利息收入的20%。对于采用20%所得税税率的公司，套利利息利率为最终所纳税的利息收入的0%。为了便于计算过渡期间利息套利，国税局在收入条例还提供可以使用平均的利息套利。屏幕上就显示这利息套利表。在公立高中、公立高等教育机构或公立技术和职业院校招收的企业培训人员的技能发展方面，允许企业额外扣除劳动培训费用价值的50%。前提是不得超过直接劳动工资的10%，只限于企业培训人员技能发展产生的费用。第三，根据学徒协议，在高丽高中、高丽高等教育机构或高丽技术和职业院校就读。第四，有教育部技术教育和技能发展局或高等教育委员会认证。对于不合理留存收益税，新税法在新税法生效之后均予以废除。For IAET or the improperly accumulated earnings tax, the CREATE has already abolished this concept. 增值税和其他百分比的规定。销售、进口、印刷或出版下列物品都免增值税。The following transactions are exempt from VAT. The following transactions are exempt from VAT. So the first one is selling, importing, printing, or publishing books, as well as any newspaper, magazine, periodicals, commentary, announcement, or any educational reading materials covered by the UNESCO agreement, including digital or electronic format, provided that such information is not primarily used for paid advertisement. 销售或进口处方药和药品，销售进口用于预防 COVID-19 的物品， 从2021年1月1日起至2023年12月31日止，都免征增值税。销售或进口处方药物，对于糖尿病、高血压、高胆固醇，从2020年1月1日起都免增值税。对于癌症、精神疾病、肾病，还有肺结核，从2021年1月1日起也免增值税。对于适用百分比或者是对于适用其他百分比的公司，请注意，其他百分比税率从3%降到1%，这是从2020年7月1日到2023年6月30日。此后，其他百分比税率为3%。So for now, I'll hand you over to Maria Christie for the remaining discussions for this afternoon. Thank you.
Hi. Okay. 大家好，我现在讲导论根据 Create 法火星税制改革新注册的企业和获得的税收优惠。So I'm Marie Christie. I'm a tax partner from SGB and Company. 在此之前，让我们讨论一下新注册的企业，应满足那些条件才能获得税收优惠。So these are the qualifications for a registered business enterprises for tax incentives. 第一，参与产业投资优先计划中包含的项目或活动。第二，达到目标绩效指标。第三，安装适当的会计系统。第四，符合电子收据和电子效油要求。第五，比较适宜拥有前及关联房年度报告。So for the qualifications, you need to be engaged in a project or activity included in the Strategic Investment Priority Program, meet the performance metrics, install adequate accounting system, comply with e-receipting and e-sales requirement, and submit the annual reports of beneficial ownership and related parties. 新注册的企业可以是国内驻口企业以外的任何企业或驻口企业型企业。对于驻口企业及产品的驻口量至少应达到70%。So for the registered business enterprise, we can classify it into domestic and export registered business enterprise. So for export, we can classify into direct export and indirect export. So we should at least export at least 70%. 下划线文本中的其他条款不再相关，因为这些条款已被总统否决。So the underlying provisions will be vetoed by the president. 根据 Create 法，出口企业将享有以下税收激励。So these are the fiscal incentives. Basically, okay, we have income tax holiday and special corporate income tax or enhanced deduction. 一定年限的所得税免税期之后，企业将被征收特别企业所得税。So that's special corporate income tax. 或者特定年限的所得税免税期，在此之后，企业将收到提高补助额。So that's enhanced deduction. So income tax holiday, and then after that, it's either special corporate income tax or enhanced deduction. 对于国内企业，所得税优惠将设定年限的所得税免税期，在此之后，企业将收到提高补助额。So for domestic enterprise, from income tax holiday, after its expiration, it's enhanced deduction. 注册的企业可以分为3个级别。So we have the following qualifications and classifications based on industry and location. 第一级，主有创造就业机会搞建立的活动，发生在市场适令的部门，通过创新升级或移动价值链创造价值，为对工业发展至关重要的部门提供必要的支持，具有潜在的相对优势。So for Tier 2第2级，生产供应品零部件的活动，非本地生产但对工业发展至关重要的中间服务进口地带活动，包括原油、精炼。第3级活动内容应包括研究开发，以实现显著增值，提高生产力，提高效率，科学卫生，突破和高薪工作，在菲律宾注册或许可的新知识和知识产权的产生，企业从拥有或共同拥有的专利、工业品外观设计、版权和使用新型的产品化，到科技制造业对经济结构转型至关重要，需要大量的追赶工作。So for the different classifications or tier 1, 2, and 3, as discussed earlier, it will be based on industry and location. For tier 1, this pertains to activities that have high potential for job creation, take place in sectors with market failures, resulting in the under-provision of basic goods and services, generate value creation through innovation, upgrading, and moving the value chain, provide essential support for sectors that are critical to industry development and are emerging owing to potential comparative advantage. So for tier 2, basically this pertains to manufacturing, produce, supplies, parts, and equipment, intermediate services, import substituting activities. And then tier 3, activities which shall include research and development resulting in demonstrably significant value added, higher productivity, generation of new knowledge, commercialization of patents, highly technical manufacturing, and are critical to the structural formation of the economy. "享有所得税价值奖励的年数将拒绝于 Tier 级别和地点。过渡区 NCR or National Capital Region 第1级将有权享受4年的所得税免税期奖励。So it's 4 years of income tax holiday if you'll be classified under Tier 1. 第2级将有权享受5年的所得税免税期奖励。第3级将有权享受6年的所得税免税期奖励。对大都市 及或毗邻 NCR 的地区 so metropolitan areas or areas contiguous and adjacent to NCR 第一级将有权享受4年的所得税免税期 so income tax holiday for 5 years under tier 1 and then it's contiguous or adjacent to NCR or it's farther than the national capital region okay and 所有其他区域 so all other areas you can see that the incentives or the number of years you'll be entitled to income tax holiday will be longer 第一级将有权享受6年的所得税免税季奖励第二级和第三级将有权享受纪年的所得税免税季奖励所得税免税季优惠期满后，注册企业可享受企业所得税特别税或家长扣除10年。So for special corporate income tax and enhanced deduction after your income tax holiday, you can use this for 10 years if you're an exporter. Okay? 对于国内市场企业所得税免税季激励期满后，注册企业将进行5年的家长扣除。So for domestic enterprise, you can use the enhanced deduction for 5 years. So that's your only option after the income tax holiday incentive. 这只是上一张幻灯片的摘要。So this is just the summary of what we have discussed. 为出国注册的企业将享受10至几年的所得税免税期，具体取决于第二级别和位置，然后特别企业所得税或家长扣除10年。So you can avail of the special corporate income tax or enhanced deduction after the income tax holiday for 10 years. 对于在国内市场注册的企业将享受4至几年的所得税免税期，具体取决于第二级别和位置，然后家长扣除5年。So for domestic market enterprise, you can use the ITH income tax holiday for 4 to 7 years based on tier or classification and enhanced deduction for 5 years. 如果符合以下条件，则对归类为第1、2和3级的注册企业将获得额外奖励。So we can avail of the additional incentives if we'll meet the following. 为首府武装地区的注册企业的项目或活动。So if you're be located in areas recovering from armed conflict or major disaster, 将有额外的2年所得税免税期。So additional 2 years of income tax holiday incentive. 在本法生效之前或根据本法规定的奖励制度登记的项目或活动，在自奖励之限内应完全从 NCR. So if you locate your activities completely relocate from NCR, you'll avail of additional incentive. 将有额外的3年所得税免税期。So it's 3 years of additional income tax holiday incentive. Okay. 特别企业所得税税率为 5%. So we have this special corporate income tax at 5%. 5% 将被征收总收入，这是代替所有国家地方税。So for the 5% special corporate income tax, it will be calculated based on your gross income. So gross income is the difference of your sales and cost of services or sales, okay? And then you apply the 5%. So the 5% tax, it's in lieu of all other taxes. Okay. 以下是抵高购出额的清单。So we now move to the enhanced deduction, the list of enhanced deduction you can consider in the calculation of your regular corporate income tax. 这些可以在计算正常企业所得税的应纳税所得额时扣除。So you can deduct this. 第一，对于大楼主折旧的实质成本外，还将额外扣除10%。So for building, it's additional 10% deduction. 对机械和设备除折旧的实质成本外，还将额外扣除20%。So for machineries and equipment, you can deduct additional 20% deduction. Okay. 这只限于以生产主新城和自助服务以外的货物和服务直接相关的资产。对于直接人工费用从扣除额为实质成本的150%。So for direct labor expenses, you can deduct up to 150% deduction. So it's an additional 50%. 这不包括因管理新城简洁劳动力和自治服务而产生的薪金、工资、福利和其他人事费用。For research and development expenses, 对于研究和开发费用总扣除额为实质成本的200%。So for research and development, you can deduct up to 200% or twice of your actual research and development costs. Okay. 培训费用和机构筑实际费用的200%。So for training expenses, you can deduct up to 200% of enhanced deduction. So it's twice of your actual expenses. 这仅适用于直接从事注册企业的商品和服务生产的菲律宾雇员。So the actual direct labor expenses or the training expense should be incurred for Filipino employees. 购买的国内收入和电力费用合计构筑实质成本的150%。So for domestic input purchase, you can deduct additional 50%. So that's a total of 150% of the actual cost. 还有制造业投资津贴，这最多是在投资利润的50%。So reinvestment allowance to manufacturing industry, you can deduct 50%. 这是用于在投资治理计5年内，对于仅仅以归顺结传，如果在前3年内发生，这可以在5年内的结传。So for net operating loss carryover, you can carry this over for 5 years and then deduct in the calculation of your regular corporate income tax. 本款等边提供增加扣除的材料。So this is the list of the enhanced deduction that we have discussed. 现在我们将举例说明新注册的企业如何享受税收优惠。So we have here an illustration. A 公司是从事一级活动的出口企业，位于过渡地区 ，so it relocated to NCR. For this illustration, a newly registered business enterprise. 它可以利用以下2个选项中的任何一个。So it can avail of the following 2 options for the incentive. 第一个选项是4年所得税免税期，然后是4年的5%的特别企业所得税。 So 4 years of income tax holiday of incentive, and then additional 10 years of 5% special corporate income tax, which will be calculated based on your gross income. 或者第二个选择是4年的所得税免税期，然后是4年的增奖补助。So 4 years of income tax holiday plus 10 years of enhanced deduction. So we need to choose from this option as a newly registered business enterprise. 根据 Create 法，现有的注册企业例如在 PEZA Philippine Economic Zone Authority 注册的企业将受以下过渡性规定的约束。So these are the transitory provision for existing registered business enterprise, for example, those located or registered with PEZA. 对于享受所得税免税期优惠的注册企业，该企业将在即享有的生育年前内享有所得税免税期。So you can use or exhaust your remaining income tax holiday incentive if you're currently under income tax holiday. So 第二，对于享有所得税免税期和所得税免税期后5%的总所得税的注册企业。So for the others, for example, you're granted income tax holiday and 5% gross income tax. After the income tax holiday, you can still use or be subjected to the 5% gross income tax for 10 more years. So 第三，对于目前需缴纳5%的总所得税的注册企业，此类企业将有权在4年内享受5%的总所得税。So if you're currently availing of the 5% gross income tax, you can still use 5% GAT for 10 more years. 在 C 的向下的过渡期结束后，在 Create 生效之前，注册的出口企业可以选择中心申请并享受税收优惠。So after this, you can reapply for new incentives under the Strategic Investment Priority Program plan, which is still pending release by our government. 如果满足以下条件，新注册的企业的资本设备、原材料备件和备件可免关税。So for customs duty exemption for capital equipment, raw materials, spare parts, and accessories, we need to comply with the following requirements. So 第一，制结和专门用于注册活动。第二，部分制结成本。第三，没有在国内生产或制造足够数量或相当的质量和合理的价格。第四，进口间有投资促进机构的批准。第五，用于非注册项目的，应当实现得到投资促进机构的批准。So we need to comply with the following requirements to avail of the exemptions for customs duty. So first, this should be directly and exclusively used in the registered activity, part of the direct cost, not produced or manufactured domestically. And then there's an approval from the investment promotion agency. And then for utilization in non-registered project, this will require prior approval of the investment promotion agency. Okay. 根据 Create 法，注册企业的进口和本地采购仍免征增值税。So VAT exemption on importation and VAT zero rating on local purchases. 要符合免征增值税的条件，此类采购应直接且专门用于注册企业的注册活动。 So this should be directly and exclusively used in the registered activity of the registered business enterprises for its purchases to qualify for VAT zero rating. So if you cannot prove that these are directly and exclusively used in the registered business activity of the, for example, PEZA registered enterprise, then the supplier will have to pass on 12% VAT. 政府以为进口 COVID-19 疫苗提供税收优惠，这不需缴纳进口关税、税关和其他费用。So there's also an exemption from import duties, taxes, and other fees for COVID-19 vaccine. So 我对 Create 法下新注册企业的税收优惠的讨论到此结束。感谢你给我们机会分享我们对 Create 法的了解。
Thank you, Sir Jonathan Dino and Miss Maricris C for giving this deep
Mag-explanation
insight
for
regarding
mga-
this topic.
Ano, seminar?
Hindi ka naman nakikinig eh.
Hi.
Wait, mo, baka naka-on na mic mo.
Kamot mo.
Hello. Can I request for the participants to mute? Thank you.
Tulis ko
Alright.
po. Ayan.
Nice. Thank you, Sir Jonathan and Miss Maricris C. 感谢林承德先生以及施美丽女士对这一主题的深刻见解。So we would like to open the floor for questions. Our attorney Fidela Isiprias will gladly answer some queries. Okay, so you may send it via chat box or you may use the raise hand function in the reactions button so that our guest speakers can entertain your queries or questions. So maybe some of our participants are our fellow CPAs. Maybe you have queries. Oh, we have one in the chat. Can the speakers expound on Revenue Regulation 9 series of 2021? Our tax partner, Attorney Fidela, maybe,
Okay.
or Ma'am Maricris, yes.
Yes. For Revenue Regulations 9-2020, actually the BIR limited or removed certain sales or transactions which may qualify for VAT zero rating on purchases. Okay, so in the list, actually for exporters, the sale of raw materials, packaging materials by entities, and then if these are for export, as well as some of the sales to export-oriented enterprise which sell at least 70% of their production to outside the Philippines. Okay, and then as well as for services or export sale of services like subcontractors of raw materials, packaging materials, and then sale, yeah. So okay, so basically those transactions are no longer subject to 0% VAT, but will be subject to 12% VAT. But take note that under the current rules, if sales to PEZA registered entities, if this can qualify as directly and exclusively used in the registered activity, may still be subject to 0% VAT. So as presented earlier, if these are directly and exclusively used in the registered activity of the PEZA registered enterprise, so specifically for the purchases, this may qualify for 12% VAT.
Thank you, Ma'am Marites. Anyone else from the participants?
So I think
Mhm.
maybe the concern of Abby is what if you're selling to non-resident foreign corporation of goods, finished goods,
Mhm.
and then services. So I think in the list of zero rated transactions, this may still qualify as subject to 0% VAT. Okay.
Right. So I think an additional info, no, they are exporters but not located in PEZA. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what are you selling? If you're selling raw materials or packaging materials, or you're like a tolling manufacturer, then based on the Revenue Regulation 9-2021, this may already be subject to 12% VAT. On the other hand, if you're selling finished goods, okay, so I think you still have basis to treat the transaction as subject to 0% VAT.
All right. So I hope uh, our guest speaker has answered your query. Thank you. Anyone else from the participants? Um, so feel free to use the chat box if you're a little bit shy to open your cameras. Okay. Especially for those business owners and maybe for those accounting practitioners. An additional question would be, would you know if the tax refund system in place is a cash refund or a tax credit? Okay.
Still cash. For the refund system is still cash, but it will take a very long time to get the refund from the BIR. Because you'll still be audited. You need to submit various documents to the BIR to qualify for the refund. So normally when you apply for a refund, you'll be subjected to a tax audit. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Anyone else po? Okay. Calling once. All right. So if there are no questions, feel free to, I hope you can see the screen. Feel free to contact our SGV partners, no? Attorney Fidela, Miss Mary Chris, and our very own Jonathan Dino, as they are currently our tax practitioners, no? So maybe you have concerns with your businesses or for audit purposes, no? May mga queries, okay? Feel free to consult them. So maybe you can take a snapshot of their contact details. Okay.